Everybody, good afternoon. My name is Eden Rosales, and I'm with the Department of Aging, CBAS branch. We are about to start our CBAS Foul Drop web portal training. It is 2:01. We will give another minute for everybody to log on. Thanks for joining us today. Okay, folks, it's 2:02, so we'll officially get our webinar started today. Once again, my name is Eden Rosales, and I'm with the Department of Aging, CBAS branch. We welcome you to our CBAS Foul Drop web portal training. Let's go ahead and get started. My name is Eden, and I'll be one of your presenters today. With me today is Adam Smith. He is a data and programs analyst within the CBAS branch as well. For today's agenda, we'll go through a few housekeeping items. We'll go through the training objectives. We'll review, give a talk through as well as a walkthrough of what the CBAS Foul Drop is and how you will be submitting your PCR report. We will also give you a talk through of how to manage your account when it comes to passwords. We'll summarize our webinar points today, and then we'll have an opportunity at the end for questions and answers. Your lines will be muted. And we ask that you type your questions throughout the webinar in the questions box. Okay. The webinar is being recorded and will be posted on the CDA website by early next week. We've also updated several forms and instructions, and those will also be posted early next week to CDA's website. And once again, we'll have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, and feel free to type in your questions in the question box, and we will respond at the end. Today's training objectives are, one, to give you a good understanding of the function of the CBAS Foul Drop and why we made an effort to, or a movement towards using the internet-based web portal. And of course, the biggest objective today is to provide you with instructions for uploading your participant characteristics report. Adam, go ahead and let's start our CBAS Foul Drop web portal.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Let's go ahead and start looking at the CBAS Foul Drop web portal. So for a basic overview, this is now an internet-based web application. It works with all the modern web browsers. So that's Mozilla, Firefox, Chrome, Internet Explorer, all the big ones. It also works on mobile devices. It's encrypted to meet the HIPAA compliance standards, so yay there. This is replacing the secure email process, so no longer will you receive secure emails from CDA and respond back to that. By not having to do that, it's reducing the risk of a PHI breach or incident, and it also increases the timeliness of the reporting because we don't have to go back and forth with emails. Let's talk about the submission process here. So, high-level overview. First, CDA is going to issue usernames and temporary passwords. This will happen early next week. It will start on Monday next week, and that will happen over email. All the emails that were provided via the SurveyMonkey, we're going to go ahead and email you your username and your temporary password. So that password I'll show you later, but it will require you to change it upon first logging in. That's why it's temporary. So after that, CDA will notify all providers via email about the submission requirements. So that'll be on July 1st, next Friday, or January 1st when that comes around, or the nearest weekday. We're obviously not going to come in and mail you on the weekend. After that, providers will log into the File Drop web portal, select and upload the file. We'll go through that in a little bit. After that, it'll be the same process as before. CDA staff here will analyze the PCR submissions, do some data validation, just basically check some columns on there, make sure everything goes right so we get correct data. If we need clarifications on the data, we'll contact you. Again, the same we've always been doing. If your PCR is approved, you'll receive an email that indicates no further actions required. And if after talking to our staff, your PCR is not approved and requires a resubmission, you'll also receive an email stating that. So let's talk about a little bit about how this looks. Let's go into it further. So beginning next Friday, when we send an email out as the submission required notification, this is exactly what it will look like. you will notice right there underneath the big bold text where it says next PCR submission for. This one says Smith Test 1 because we're just testing files, so it'll have your center name right there, and it will say when it's due. So after that, you'll go ahead and access the CBAS File Drop web portal. There's more than one way to do it. You can either go to the direct link, cbasfiledrop.aging.ca.gov, or on our forms webpage, for those of you familiar with the forms reporting page, where it has all the forms like the MSSR, the other forms I can't remember now, but they also have the PCR on there. There will now be a button that says submit your PCR, so it'll just take you to that link directly if you're more familiar going through our webpage. So once you get to that page, however you get to it, this is what you're going to see. You're going to go ahead and enter your username and your password. Once you do that, you'll be logged in. You can select your center from your drop-down, right? So if you're only associated with one center, your center will automatically be populated right there in that drop-down. Next, you'll click Browse for File. That'll open up a window where you can browse in your computer for wherever your file is. Go ahead and select it. So you can see here we've selected the QualCare CBAS PCR. Then you click Open down there on the bottom right. That file is now ready for upload on the screen, so you can go ahead and click the Upload File button. Once you've done so, you'll receive confirmation right here, file uploaded successfully. Thank you for your submission. Once you click OK, you'll see this screen. It's again a confirmation. It's telling you the exact time and file name that you uploaded. So if you need to make a correction to the file, maybe you have uploaded a file by mistake or you realize you left something off, all the way until CDA downloads the file, you can go ahead and just log back in. This is the screen you'll see, right, even if it's the next day or days later. And the button in step 2 has now changed to replace file. So you repeat the same steps. You can browse for file and replace your file. If you believe you've uploaded an erroneous file and CDA has already downloaded it for review, you can just contact your center staff, your analyst here that's working with it, and say, hey, I made a mistake, I need to upload another file. They can go ahead and clear that submission out, and you'll go right back to the screen where it's blank and says, please upload a file. This is the screen you'll see once CDA has downloaded the file and it's under review. This is what it will look for you guys. So once your submission has been validated and approved, this is the email you'll receive. Again, right there in the middle, say no further action is required for, and it will have your center name on it. And if your PCR is not approved, this is the email you'll receive. Again, it'll also say your CBAS branch analyst has identified errors and or inconsistencies with your PCR submission for and your center name. Again, you're not just going to receive this email randomly without direction. Before you receive this email, you will have been contacted by center staff to go over the inconsistencies they identified in your data. Let's talk a little bit about managing your account. So if you forget your password, understandable. We've made it quick and simple. You don't even have to contact us. From the CBAS File Drop webpage, there is a Forgot My Password button. Once you click on that, it will ask for your email address that's associated with the account. Once you enter that email address and click Enter, an email will be sent with the link to change your password. This is very similar just to like changing your password on your email or anything else. So here's the home page of the CBAS File Drop web portal. We have clicked Forgot My Password. You can see there it says please provide the email address associated with the account. You'll enter your email. You'll click Submit. And this is the email you will receive. So for everybody out there who doesn't know my email address, now you have it because there it is. And you will just click on Reset Password, and then it will take you to a Reset Password screen. So if you need to change your password, also quick and simple. Don't have to contact us either. We don't want to hold you guys up from any of this stuff. So you'll log into the File Drop portal. You'll click Go to My Accounts, and you'll click Change Password. So from the login screen, once we're logged in, we have clicked on My Account. You can see it up there in the top right in the yellow. And then we clicked on Change Password. It'll prompt you to enter your old password, then a new password, and a confirm new password. There are the standard password requirements where it has to be 8 to 30 characters, has to contain a special character and an uppercase letter. And again, once you go to insert a new password, those requirements will automatically pop up below in the box right there and let you know what the requirements are. If you need to remove or add a new user, so this is something you will have to go to CDA through. We couldn't make this that simple. Sorry about that. There is now a CBAS file drop user request form. It is on our forms page. It's going to be in the exact same place where the PCR is, also where the submit the PCR button is, and all the other instructions. You'll fill that out and submit it to the general email. We'll go ahead and make the changes here in our system and confirm with you once they've been made. The form's pretty simple. This is what it looks like. In the middle there, you can see it has boxes where you can check new user account, changes to existing account, or disable a user account. So to fill this out, all users, no matter what option you're picking, will fill in section A where it has the name, title, email address, center name, NPI. Right? And if it's just adding a new user, that's all you'll fill out. If it's just disabling a user, that's all you fill out. If there are changes to the username or email address and you check the second box, then you'll fill out box B below indicating that. Again, we'll make those changes in our system and go ahead and let you know that they've been made. Okay, so here we're going to go out to the actual file drop and just walk through some of those things we did. So you can see here we're at cbasfiledrop.ag.ca.gov. We're going to go ahead and log out. So we're going to pretend at this point that I've received an email notifying me that I need to submit a PCR. So I come here, I enter my username, I enter my password. This is my temporary password that was provided by CDA. I log in, and why not? Try logging in. Sorry, we're running into some, this is our test database, it's not exactly live, so we're having some issues until we go live here. Okay, so I logged in as a different account, so you're not going to see the world's best CBAS. Hold on, we're getting some notes, you guys aren't seeing this screen here. Okay. Now we're getting notes. People can see this now. Good. Okay. So we logged in, and this is a test center. This is our center that we have identified that our username is associated with, and it's asking me to submit a PCR. So I'm going to go ahead and browse for a file. And I just saved a sample file here. See, I had World's Best CBAS, but I couldn't log in with my test account. So here's my World's Best CBAS PCR that I'm submitting. And I'm going to upload the file. Here's my confirmation message that my file was uploaded successfully. And that's done. So now if I were to log out and decide that, oh, I made a mistake, I need to log back in and upload another file, I forgot to include some participants here. I can go ahead and log in if CDA hasn't downloaded my file, which they haven't yet. I can browse for a file, and if this were a different file, just simply replace it with the latest file. Again, it's the exact same steps. So while we're in here, if we need to change our password, here's the My Account. Here's the change the password process. Simple as this. And the other thing we demonstrated is if I forget my password, here's the forget my password. And again, like the slides show, I would just enter my email, submit, and it would send me a link to upload or to change my password. So we tried to make that as simple as possible. So again, just to summarize, this is an internet-based program, so no longer are you tied to having to sit at your desk at the center to submit this, because I know there's a lot of administrative program directors that do this off-site after hours, so this is great. Also, it works with most of the browsers, including the mobile browsers, so there shouldn't be any issues with that. If some people have some older browsers or some software like that that's out of date, and you're having problems, you can feel free to contact us. We do have a list of like the minimum browser requirements for each browser type. But again, you'd have to be really far out of date for that to happen. And this allows for secure submission so that it saves us and you time and avoids the PHI breaches and incidents, which nobody wants to have to deal with those, least of all our participants. And again, we just want to reiterate, there will not be a secure email process. So we will not be emailing any PCRs of any kind. We will not be accepting emails. We will not be expecting to see your emails. You guys don't have to think about emailing us. So on that, less is better about emailing PCRs. Okay, are there any questions that we're getting?
There are, and I'll summarize them. Some of the main questions that have come in is when will you be receiving your username and passwords? And again, you will receive your initial username and initial password from CBA beginning next week, the week of the June 27th. And I believe the plan is to send those to you via email.
Correct. We have about close to 500 user names between multiple people at all the centers. So it's probably going to take us a couple days, but we're going to start on Monday to reach out to everybody and get those to you. But rest assured, we will have them to you in time for you to submit beginning Friday.
Okay, another question is how long will the submitted file, let me reread this, how long the submitted file will be replaceable? So what I believe you're asking is how long can you replace your PCR file? And you'll be able to replace your PCR file until a CBA staff has downloaded it here. And if you are reaching a screen that says no PCR report is requested at this time and you feel the need to replace the existing file on record, contact your assigned analyst and we will help you through that. And another question is, you thought these were not due until 7/31. Is it really 7/1? Your PCR, the last submission date, in order to be counted as on-time submission, is 7/31. The PCR request email, the initial request opening your portal, will be sent to you on the 1st of July. Another question is, should we use the same portal to submit the MSSR? At this time, this portal will be for the PCR submission process only. We hope to, in the future, be able to open it up to MSSR reports as well as additional reporting, but currently it will be for submitting your PCR only. What's the approximate time frame between file upload and CDA downloading of the file? Well, at this time we're going to be tracking it in real time, so if we see one of your centers, one of the centers that has uploaded a file, a CDA staffer can't download it. So it's really hard to pinpoint how long that will be. But again, if you've run into an issue after you've uploaded it and you're finding that CDA staff has closed your portal, you can contact us and we will walk you through how to resubmit the correct PCR. When is the first submission of PCR using the web portal due?
So that first submission will be due by July 31st, July 1st, which is a week from tomorrow. I personally will be sending out the emails, and on them they will have a due date of 7/31. So after any submissions after 7/31 will be identified as late reporting. So just to clarify, that's not your PCR has to be fully approved with all the data corrected by then. You just have to have submitted something by 7/31.
If my center is newly licensed, do I send data from previous licensee or simply since our license date? Since your license date. Can we get today's webinar materials instructions? Yes, you will. The webinar and instructions will be posted to CDA CBAS providers page under forms and instructions by early next week.
All these slides, as well as a copy of the webinar as well as an instruction sheet on how to log in. It's a simple one-page instruction sheet, as well as the account user change request form, as well as some updated PCR instructions and submission guidelines that now reference this, will all be posted. I'm going to try to get them posted tomorrow, but I have to coordinate with IT for that. So I would say definitely by early next week that'll all be posted on the forums page, and also copies of the training slides and the webinars will also be on the CDA training page as well. So it'll be in 2 places.
Next question. I came in late on audio. Did Adam say that each user must have their own username and password?
So we went out with the Survey Monkey earlier in June, and we asked people to identify primary and secondary contacts for the PCR, and we did hear back from every single center, and that is how we built our usernames and passwords. So if you're unsure, possibly maybe somebody else at your organization submitted that SurveyMonkey response and you're unsure of who they identified, you could go ahead and contact us at any time. We could tell you who the people we have down are. And again, with that user account access, the account change request form, you could always submit one of those and deem, oh, we need other people to have access to this as well. We can go ahead and do that. It's not a problem.
Can the PCR be submitted before July 31st, or do I have to wait until July 31st?
No, your PCR can be submitted as early as July 1st. So July 1st it'll be open. As soon as you get the email, you can go ahead and submit. So the only thing we say about that is that since the data goes through 6/30, and then the data does require some manual validation for certain data components we've identified in the FAQs and the submission guidelines, such as if you use software, all fall risks are identified, and we only want high fall risks. So if you're able to go through and validate your data before the end of the day on 7/1 and submit it, then it will take it.
So is this also for prospective ADHC CBAS providers?
So no, because the PCR is asking for participants that were enrolled between June 1st and June 30th. So if you're not a currently open and operating center, you would not have any enrolled participants.
The PCR we are turning in by July 31st is only from January 2016 through July, correct?
No, incorrect. This is the same PCR from before, so if there's any confusion on that, there is a multitude of information on our forums page about the PCR, including a really good FAQ and instructions, a recording, a webinar of how to fill out the PCR, and common misidentified data points in case there's questions about those. But this data is for any participant enrolled from June 1st to June 30th of this reporting period.
Okay. Can I submit the document under a Mac computer pages format? That's an interesting question.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. We can check on that.
Yeah.
So I will definitely, we have who submitted that, and I'll check on that. All I know for sure is that it has to be in Excel file format.
And if you come across any issues, certainly contact CDA staff here, Adam probably.
Certainly, you can always contact our general number, or many of the providers out there know me, Adam Smith. It's adam.smith@aging.ca.gov, as is all our email addresses here. Or if you call our general number, they can certainly route you to me, and I'll do my best I can to help you with that kind of stuff.
And we understand that this is a new process for both CDA and for our centers, and we want to make sure that you're understanding that we are here for technical assistance, and we will be patient, and please be patient with us, and we can make this a successful transition.
Yes, definitely. CDA is very responsive in that aspect. We also want to make sure to stress that if key center staff have missed today's presentation, especially if the people who are going to be doing the actual submission, that they view the recording. I would look for it probably Monday, that they view this recording and the slides that go along with it.
There is a question here that says, should the PCR submitted include all participants enrolled? If you have questions on what is to be included in your PCR report, go ahead and visit the instructions or the forms and instructions page on CDA's website. And if you have remaining questions after reviewing the instructions, give us a call, give your assigned analyst a call, and we'll help you through that. Nothing has changed with the PCR report itself, just the way that you're submitting it to the department. So there will no longer be a secure email process. PCRs will be submitted through the web, through this web portal. Are there any other questions out there?
While we're waiting to see if there's any other questions, one thing we want to stress that I didn't identify here because the sample file I uploaded was already named QualCare CBAS _ PCR, that's just what we had named it, is that you don't have to worry about what your file name is named on your end. It'll go ahead and be identified with the NPI that's being submitted from here, and it'll be renamed here on this end, so we'll know who it's coming from. There's no worries about that.
Okay. All right, it does not appear that any more questions are coming through the queue. All right. Is there a maximum file size that can be uploaded? There probably is, and we will check on that, and we will include it in the frequently asked questions to ensure that you have that information.
We can check on that. I wouldn't imagine, I know our largest center out there, they have roughly 500 participants, and we uploaded some files that definitely had more lines of data than that, and we didn't have a problem with that. I uploaded some files and just sample Excel files that had 40,000 lines of data, and they were fine. So I wouldn't imagine you're going to run into that problem, but we can definitely check on it.
Is there going to be a test run for submission before the actual submission due date? We have done test runs, and I know you're the gentleman that's been asking about the Mac upload, so we may contact you to do a test run if you're working off of a Mac platform.
Yes, for this person, what center are you from? I would definitely like to see if we could get you to submit a file, maybe not a complete PCR, but a file through a test process and see if it's working with your type of file.
Okay, thank you for that. He submitted his center name.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure you'll hear from me. I'll reach out to you.
And then is there a certain name that we have to use to save the file under? Whatever you save your file, whatever you name your file, the system itself will correct its naming for our purposes. So on your end, your process remains the same for your naming convention.
Yeah, we want to stress there's not really a change going on. You're still going to do the exact same thing you do with the PCR. You're going to produce your PCR however you produce it, whether it's manually or via your software provider. You're just going to simply send it to us in a different format. Try to make it as simple as we can for everybody here.
Okay, well, we certainly hope that we've answered your questions. We hope that we've provided you with a good overview of the function of the CBAS file drop as well as how to submit your PCR. If you have any remaining questions that we weren't able to get to, or if you find that you have questions once you receive your PCR request email, again, contact CDA CBAS branch and we'll be happy to provide any technical assistance that's required. Thank you for participating today. We look forward to hearing from you.